Hi, I'm Chris. I'm the Repair and Refinishing Manager for PRS Guitars Europe, and today we're going to take you through a small video of the processes on refinishing the guitar. The first thing we start with is the disassembly of the guitar. All hardware parts will be removed prior to any prep work. The parts include machine heads, the pickups, the bridge and all the electronics. Once all the parts have been removed, we will then mask up any areas we don't want sprayed. Once the areas have been masked up, we'll be ready for sanding. We first start sanding using an orbital electric sander. This is usually around 240 grit. We use the bobbin sander on the sides to get any additional finish off which the sander can't reach. Once we have mechanically removed the finish, we will then use fine sandpaper for a final hand sanding. All finish has to be removed as we're using a new colour. We don't want any of the existing colours to show through. We are now ready for top staining. The edge of the binding will have to be masked up. We'll do this so we don't get any finish bleed into the mahogany. Next we start with the first base coat colour, which is a red. It will go on looking quite pink due to the whiteness of the maple. This is applied evenly all the way over the top. Once it's evenly spread all over the top, we'll just quickly buff it off with a rag. Once dried, we'll do a quick sand out and then we'll start with the next top coat colour, which is a purpley blue. This again is distributed all across the top, ensuring we're getting all the grain. The great thing about PRS guitars is that the double staining really enhances the top, really makes the maple pop. As you can see from double staining how amazing the top pops. We've got that killer flame look and that two-tone colours coming through. Here we remove the masking tape to reveal the maple binding, and this will be cut to make a picture-like frame. We then cut the binding using sandpaper. As you can see, we carefully take off round the sides to give a nice smooth edge. We'll lightly sand the sides in case of any bleed through. Now that we've stained the top, we want to seal that colour into the guitar. We then mix up a base coat, which is classed as a whiz coat. So it's a very thin base coat which is sprayed on just to seal everything down. Due to the finishes being quite toxic, we have to suit up with air-fed mask and gloves, ensuring that we don't get any finish on our bodies or in our eyes. And then we get into the spray booth, and once our base coat is in the gun, we'll check the pressure and fluid amount, and then we're ready for spraying. A quick blow with the air gun, just to get any particles off. And we start with a couple of light coats, just so the finish gets into the grains of the wood. The reason why we're adding the light whiz coat is prior to grain filling, is seals in our colour that we've just stained on our top. As you can see, it's nowhere near the finished product yet, but we've now sealed everything in. Once the whiz coat has dried for a couple of days, we'll lightly key up the areas, ready then for our top base coat and any grain filling on the back and sides. The maple will be masked up again, as we don't want to get any grain filler onto the top. and then we start applying the grain filler, and this will fill all the grain and any pores, allowing us to apply more finish, and it stops the finish from sinking into the wood. The grain filler is then buffed off and allowed to cure off for a couple of days before we add more base coat, and then we're ready for the top coat burst. So now we're straight back into the spray booth, tacking the top off, ready for its colour coat. We use a small mini gun to apply the blue burst, and we spray that around the outer edge and then slightly fade that into the middle, and that gives us our classic PRS look. As you can see, it's now all starting to come together. So we start spraying the clear coat. This is to give us our glassy look, and will really make all the wood grain and top pop. Some guitars we use a matte finish to give a dull look, but others will do the clear coat to give a high gloss. So the idea of the clear coat is to make all the wood grain pop through, to get that glass look. We allow the clear coat to cure for a couple of weeks before wet sanding and buffing to a high gloss. So this is the finished item. As you can see, all the burst and the maple is popping like crazy. And finally we come to the assembly of the guitar. So we'll fit all the parts back in the guitar, rewire it, we'll clean the fretboard and polish the frets, add new strings, and then a new up-to-date headstock logo, as this guitar was quite old. And this is the Custom 24, which we refinished. Originally it was in McCarty Sunburst, and we refinished it in Violet Blueburst. And as you can see, it's got a lovely rosewood neck, and we did the whole back and sides. The process usually takes around 3 to 4 months, and that is from full strip down, prep work, to full gloss top. So as you can see, this is the finished guitar, which we've now got finally set up and all built together. And we've got the three-way switch, and we added a coil tap instead of a rotary, with a new upgraded knob and black surrounds. Thanks for watching. I've been Chris. Hope you've enjoyed the transformation of this guitar.